This week on the Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus, we are going to be taking a bit of a survey, a bit of an observation of the best and the worst theatrical bands. You know, these bands that have to put the costumes on or the crazy makeup or have the wild stage thing that's like almost like a Broadway musical. That's what we're going to be talking about. So stick around, and we are really excited to hear your thoughts as well on it. You're listening to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, changing rock history one podcast at a time. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. My name is Lou Lombardi, a.k.a. Loudini, and this lovely lady sitting next to me tonight, getting ready to take her top off, is Lily V6.
What's up? I was not taking my top off. We only do that on the private show.
What? What? Okay, you are listening to Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, our hard rock and metal circus. LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com is the website. Tons of cool stuff going on there that you definitely do not want to miss. Let's see, like what's there? Oh, like this, as well as tons of cool artist interviews that we've gotten back to finally after a little break there around the holidays. So that's back in full swing, and a lot of good stuff coming. Specials, rock and rants. Where you've got a YouTube channel that we're trying to build up there, so you can check us out there. Please visit us on iTunes and leave us a review. And we love hearing from you guys. We want to know what you guys love to talk about. Anything having to do with great guitar-driven rock, hard rock, heavy metal, and rock and roll. That is what we're all about here at the Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus. LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com is the website. So, Lily.
Yes.
It says audio. You know, we need talking. So
you were talking. You're hogging the mic like you do that.
I'm a mic hogger from way back. Just call me Mikey Hoggy. Hoggy Mike. So, yeah. Lily is, what's going on? You say you're getting a migraine?
I am getting a migraine. I'm sure it's all work-related stress, but that's fine. Hopefully it goes away. So
yeah, I hope it does too. Speaking of headaches, there's some things you're going to notice a little bit different. Those of you that are like listening on iTunes, and those of you that are listening on Podbean or one of those just purely audio formats like that, recorded audio formats, you are going to get the full experience of the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, Hard Rock and Metal Circus. However, those of you that are watching live streams on Facebook or YouTube, you are not. You will not be able to hear the music when we play the music. I'm getting tired of getting beat over the head by YouTube and Facebook for playing music. All I'm doing is trying to help bands promote them, and they don't seem to get that or understand that, so screw them. So you will not hear. So if you're watching live, we're going to announce the band. We're going to say, check it out, and you won't get to hear it. You'll have to go and listen to the actual podcast. It's as easy to do. It's in a bunch of places. You can stream it in your car. I mean, a lot of newer vehicles even have the whole setup for streaming podcasts and whatnot. We're on Player FM. We're on like Stitcher. So if you have any of those things, it's very easy to stream and check it out. And you can also always check us out on Rock Rage Radio on the replay every Sunday at noon. So when you're getting out of church, before, on your way to eat your big meal, you can rock out to the Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus that way.
Sausage biscuit and hash brown from McDonald's.
Exactly. So speaking of the first band we're not going to play, or that we're going to play that you're not going to hear. You can hear it. Na, 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 na. This is a band that I played a few weeks ago that I really liked, Lana, Blac, and they got muted. So we're just going to mute it ourselves, so you're not going to be able to hear it. So, but if you're listening on the replay, so don't worry if you're listening to this on Podbean or iTunes, or you're definitely going to be able to hear it. But those, just the stream guys, just the stream. So I'm going to be saying that a few times. Sorry if that annoys you, but I've got to, because I know we're going to be getting messages like, I can't hear the music. Well, that's why I can't hear the music. Okay. So, anyways, this is Lana Blac, "Suck You In" on the Loudini Hard Rock. Let me do that again. I'm going to get this exactly right. On the Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus. Too many buttons, not enough time, Lily. That's the problem. So, anyways, Lana Blac, I'm going to give Lana some props there. You can go to lanablac.com, LANABLAC. No K. There is no K in Lana Blac.
It's like Blac.
Le Blanc. Lana Blanc. Blah.
Like a vampire.
But her music is not blah.
No,
really great rock and roll.
She's interesting.
Yeah, really cool stuff. And I'm really excited for you guys to check out this band we're going to play a little bit later on called Vovkulaka. And they are Ukrainian.
Vovkulaka.
And they are also, well, I'll tell you later. I don't want to spoil the surprise because I met Volk this week and we had a great talk. And he's also a paranormal investigator, so it's very cool stuff. We'll get into that. We'll get into it. I promise. We'll get into it. Anyways, Lily, anything cool? Did you go to some cool shows this week or anything?
I actually worked all weekend for Bud Light, so no. I did not go to any cool shows. However, on Friday, and I'm sorry, I'm going to go see Quiet Riot.
Yeah, I have a show on Friday, and Lily's not coming.
Sorry.
I get it. I'd go see Quiet Riot, too.
Storm Dragon's opening, as well as Dying Breed, and then also on Saturday at Otto's Pub down in Cannonsburg.
Otto's.
Storm Dragon will be there again with Divine Tragedy and
we're supposed to have better
Ambiance of Chaos
weather on Saturday, so that might be a good day for me to go down and check them out.
Super close, so I was thinking about going down there.
Yeah, I played Otto's. It's a bowling alley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, it's a cool place.
I've never seen a band there yet, but
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, well, we can. I might. Are they? Is Storm Dragon like? Are they like headlining? Or?
I want to say yes to that.
Okay, right. All right, so you guys can check that out if you're in the Pittsburgh area. You can visit the lovely town of little town of Cannonsburg, and check out some cool. There's great. I mean, it's amazing, right? Like great rock in like this
in this little baby town.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, and it's everywhere.
When he told me that, I'm like, yes,
sweet. That's cool. And the Uber will be cheap.
I know, right? Not $45 each way.
I know, it's crazy, but it's still cheaper than the other option that if you get into trouble.
Don't drink and drive.
Right, no jinking and jiving. No jinking, no jiving.
I do not recommend this.
What? Anyways, so what I was, so yes, I have a show. I'm going to be playing with the Turbosonics at the Good Time Bar on Friday night. The show starts around 9 o'clock, so if you're in the area, come on down. I'm going to do a solo show, but I will be playing electric. It will be a rock and roll show, even though I'll be playing solo. I promise.
It's a great bar, and Lou's a great performer.
Yes, it'll be a good time, and thank you for that, Lily. I didn't even have to pay her to say that.
No.
So,
and I'm not that nice.
But here's what's going on. Here's why we're going a little bit late. After all these years of podcasting, I realized I've never taken any kind of podcasting course. And there's probably a lot of things that I don't know. And there's probably a lot of things that I could be doing like way better. Not just so much for myself, but like for you guys too, to give like to make sure that we have a much better show, that you're much more engaged, that you're having a great time, that you're like messaging me all week saying, when's the show going to start? What are you going to get? I want people to be like, I want you guys to be super excited.
You want people to pee their pants?
Right. And I want to have like a great community of people that are really enthusiastic about the music. And, they're really excited about keeping great guitar-driven rock, hard rock, heavy metal, rock and roll going. So I want to get better at what I'm doing. So we had our first mastermind meeting tonight, and it was overlapping, so we had to move this back a little wee bit. So, but hey, it's rock and roll. It's late night. We can do late night in rock and roll. I mean, rock and roll isn't always supposed to start real early, is it?
Who sleeps anyway?
Exactly.
Is that a thing?
I know. Is that a thing? Is it a thing?
No. I don't sleep much.
So, have you been to any shows, Lily? My beard just got stuck in my mouth. Have you been to any bands that put on like a big theatrical production?
Yes.
And could you give us just pick one off the top of your head?
One off the top of my head. I'm just going to go to my notes because my brain hurts. But Kiss would be the one right off the top of my head. Definitely have been to many many Kiss shows. They do the whole thing. They have the light show with the giant Kiss sign in the back. They have Gene Simmons spewing blood. They have him breathing fire on a sword.
But he's not like doing this stuff randomly. This is like
it's all sort of a story. Yeah, it's sort of a
song.
story, and then he flies, and it's it does tell sort of a story, and it's all very flowing into each other. I mean, their music over the years as they get older doesn't sound as good, but their stage show still is good. Paul Stanley's flying out into the crowd during one of the damn songs. My head's just not there today. I Was Made for Loving You. That's the song he does that too. And it's very fun to watch. My sister, who is not a fan of Kiss music, loves to go just to see their stage show, which is why a lot of people go, which is why a lot of people take their kids to go.
Garth Brooks even says that he's a big Kiss fan. So, yeah, they put on a hell of a show for sure. When I was thinking, like, I was trying to think about what bands have I seen that were like super theatrical, and this just I was thinking as you were talking about Kiss, this popped in my brain, and I'm like, I can't believe I totally forgot about this band, the Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
I had that on my honorable mention. I did have that. I saw them one time.
That is a very it's literally a kind of like a rock theater, almost like a rock opera.
It's a rock opera for sure.
And yeah. I think it's good. I mean,
it's wonderful.
I really enjoyed it. It's interesting how they took this like whole kind of heavy metal thing, but it's kind of very like inspirational and uplifting, and yeah,
you definitely feel some things during that show. Like, it's at Christmas time, so it's very, in the spirit of Christmas. And I thought I was not going to like it because of that, because I'm not into that holiday. But I did win tickets to it one year, and I went, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, I really need to go again. I am under the impression, or I understand that they have changed it around a little bit. Because they did kind of the same show. I saw them twice, and it's not that I was upset that they did the same show, because the show is great. But I have heard that they have revamped it and switched it around.
As they should.
Some of the most amazing singing I've ever heard in a rock show, like singers.
Even
like,
the guitar
really
playing. Oh my gosh.
So, no,
phenomenal.
I mean that kind of goes without saying, but
right.
Yeah, it's great stuff. So that was just kind of a band that I'm just talking about. We're sort of throwing a few personal experiences around. But what do you think, Lily, makes for like a really good theatrical performance?
One of the things that I did mention already was that it needs to sort of flow. It can't be all over the place, and there are a lot of bands that have done theatrical shows that are all over the place, but it needs to have a flow, and I think it needs to be memorable, which most of them are, but definitely needs to make sense, I guess.
I think that one of the things that's very important, and this is a kind of trade-off for people who like their rock a little more off the cuff, or a little not improvised so much, but just that more like kind of shoot from the hip kind of thing. Is it needs to be really, 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 really well rehearsed. Like, it really needs to be like everything has to happen on its cue. And when you go and you see a show like the Trans-Siberian Orchestra or Kiss or something like that, one of the things you're really struck by is how together it really is. Like,
very well choreographed.
Yeah, it's very well put together. And if one of those things comes apart,
you're probably gonna notice.
Yeah, it's gonna be
in a case like that. It's
not
like
it
seeing
can be
theater.
A real cluster. So I think that's just, and that is something that one of the reasons why people who don't like those kind of shows, so that's one of the reasons they give, is that it just feels too rehearsed, or it's too predictable, or whatever. There's no, but what I always tell people, because I've been in this business a really long time, and I've known a lot of musicians all at all the different levels. I think a lot of the shows that you see that sort of come off as off the cuff, I think that's a lot of that stuff is rehearsed.
I'd have to agree with
looks improvised is something that if you go to see them the next night, you're going to see
the exact same show. And I will give you an example of that. The thing that I just saw, Generation X, I saw the exact same show twice. Same jokes, same movements. Everything was exactly the same both nights. And that's sort of theatrical, but that's not on my list. But that's
when I think when we're talking about theatrical too, let's make sure we kind of clarify. We're talking about acts that are overtly theatrical. Like you go to see them to put
You
on a
you see them for that performance.
I understand that the Rolling Stones, have a show that they put on. I get that, but they're not theatrical in the same way that Kiss is theatrical, or like Alice Cooper.
Right, Alice Cooper is the same show every single time you see him. That was my second one actually. Seen him about 3 or 4 times as well. He does the whole Giant Frankenstein. He does the Mad Scientist bit. Again, it's all very well done. One song flows into the next. At the very end of every show, he kills himself. Sorry to spoil it. With a guillotine.
Spoiler alert.
But, he dances with a doll on stage, and he sings to it, abuses it, throws it around. But it's very good. It's one of my favorite shows to see again.
And he's a born-again Christian.
Hey, it's good stuff. He wasn't that for a while. So.
Yeah, no, that was I saw that interview with him on YouTube. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Well, you had to clean up his act.
You get that age, and you start thinking like, I might have to
what's going to happen?
God soon, so maybe I should look into this religion thing a little bit.
It's exactly what's going to happen when you see an Alice Cooper show, though. It's the exact same show every time, but it's so great, and I love it. And I did take a country girl to that show, and she loves Alice Cooper.
I think if it's like a really it's no different than if it's a good theatrical show. You want to see it again, just like people go like, oh, I saw Cats and I want to see it again, or I saw Les Miserables and I want to see it again. It's the same kind of.
Yes, I get it.
I mean, it's the same kind of feeling, or even like going to see a really good movie. I watched Bohemian Rhapsody again. Speaking of really.
Yeah, I want to see it again. I'm gonna end up buying it. I'm sure.
But I think it has to really be together. You can't, it's not the kind, you really can't have too much improvisation. Like, here's a good example. Like the Grateful Dead and the Allman Brothers. They're not going to really do all kind of choreography.
Nope.
Because, that's just not what they fucking... who, I don't want to steal all your thunder.
No, you're good.
So, let's kind of get into some of these best shows. So, do you have a list of best theatrical...
Yeah, I have a list of theatrical in general.
Okay.
Whether I think they're good or bad.
Okay, so let's pick some of the good ones that you really like.
Okay.
Because Lily's been to way more concerts than I have.
That's what I do. It's where I spend my money.
That's where we're going to defer to her on this topic.
Okay, so one of the ones I've seen twice now, and I'll have to explain how I didn't know what happened until I got there, was Gwar. I'd never seen Gwar live. Nobody told me what happened. But they are... this heavy metal band. They actually are from Virginia. They have a whole barbecue festival they do, but they do come to Smalls every year when they come here. They're kind of known for their grotesque costumes, very elaborate grotesque costumes, and they're supposed to be these interplanetary barbarian sort of guys, and they end up killing political figures and famous people on stage. And they like to use a lot of fake blood, fake semen, fake urine, and they like to spray it out in the audience. And you are not safe no matter where you're standing.
That the semen is fake?
No, I'm not. God help me. But I was...
How many women got pregnant at the Gwar show just from being in the audience?
Oh, Lord, I don't know. But I remember the first time I went, my... boyfriend at the time told me, you need to stand in the pit because you'll get a better view. Oh, great. Okay, I'll go stand in the pit. Oh, and wear white. I said, oh, everybody wears white to this. Okay, I get it. Cool. No, I didn't get it at all. I got stuck and lifted up in the pit right in front of a blood cannon, and I was covered in all of this fake blood. Wow. But they do, and their story actually flows very well. It's literally a story they're telling the entire time they're on stage. And they have so many different characters that they interchange throughout the entire show. Probably 20 characters per show is what I would say. And it literally tells the whole story. And then
it's a really good show.
I love it.
Yeah, because Barb said that it was not one of her favorites, but...
It's gross, but you gotta have to appreciate...
I would probably sit way in the back.
There's this one costume where it's a guy standing on his hands and his butthole's showing towards the audience, and he, squirts out.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's gross, but I think it's very well done theatrically.
It gets scatological at times.
Yes, I love the word scatological, but yes. It's gross, but I do love the show because it's so well put together and very tight, and it's really good. I like it very much. I've seen them twice.
Okay.
I would go see them again in the back.
We go see them. Let's in the back. So let's. So you would put them like really good.
Yeah, I'd put them in the good section.
In the good section.
Yes.
Have you seen a theatrical show that you went like, what the hell is this crap?
There's not one that I've seen personally, but there's one I have seen on videos, which would be Wasp.
Okay.
Love Wasp. Love them. I do not want to see women on torture stretchers with their naked women with their heads covered, and they're like throwing raw meat at the audience as they're cutting it up with their cod pieces that are a chainsaw. I didn't realize that their stage show was so crazy until I actually watched video of it. Blackie Lawless, that man is a sick person, but I mean, he would eat worms on stage, I guess. I never saw that one, but I read about that. Shower the crowd in feathers. He would drinking the blood out of the human skull is kind of cool. I just hope it wasn't real blood, but no, you never know with him. So, never actually saw Wasp. Would have loved to have seen Wasp,
like
but I think
Wasp like crosses the line.
I do, and I don't think it's probably very organized when they do it. I think they just do things from what I've seen.
Yeah, I was in a band where the guy's idea of putting on a show was he would pull a rubber chicken out of his pants. No.
What was the reason?
We were all doing a lot of marijuana and thought it was really funny.
I went to go see a band that would get naked on the stage every night. That's all. It's my hairdresser, actually.
Okay, what was the name of the band?
The Undeniable.
Well, there's a band from Pittsburgh, and they've got the girls that come on with the
suspensions.
Yeah.
Damn it, what's the name of the band?
Venus and Furs.
Yeah, they do that. I love Venus and Furs. I'm playing them on my show this week. And who's the other one with Rev Lower? I can't think of his name right now. Only Flesh.
Okay.
They put on some of the craziest shows I've seen, and I love going to their shows.
But
it's a circus.
that isn't exactly theatrical. Theatrical is theatrical. So, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Like, Iron Maiden, has a known for a big show. Would you consider them theatrical? No.
And I wouldn't. I wanted to until I was sort of reading. Yeah, they have like their character and everything go on stage, sort of like Alice Cooper-esque, and they do the giant props and stuff. But I just wouldn't call them theatrical because it's just it's just showing things. They're not actually incorporating that into the show. So I wanted to put them on my list, and I almost had them on my list, but it didn't quite make the cut for me.
That was very interesting. I wanted to ask you about that because that was one of the things I caught was kind of like, borderline.
Also AC/DC. I also would not call them theatrical, but they enter with sort of like, for the rock and roll train show I saw in Florida, they had the giant train, and Rosie was on the train riding the train, and things like that. They incorporate these sort of things.
Some theatrics.
But I wouldn't call it theatrical.
Right. Theatrical. Okay.
Right. And the cannons and the whole thing.
Not the same way that Guar or something like that.
Or Kiss. Yeah. I wouldn't I wanted to really include them, but it didn't really count.
I got you.
In my opinion.
I got you.
So, yeah.
Why don't you throw another one at us that you really, really love?
Really, really love. I need to refer to my other thing. Do you know who the Plasmatics are?
Oh, yeah.
So I absolutely love Wendy O. Williams.
She blew her head off with a... She killed herself.
I know. But when I was doing the guitar grinding, I would try to channel her. But during their shows, and I unfortunately have never seen one, but I've seen video of it, they would use chainsaw guitars, and she'd be half naked on the stage, and it was sort of like Wasp, but not as gross as Wasp. So I kind of really wish I would have been there around to see her actual performance, because it seemed like it was pretty cool. They blew things up on stage with explosives, like appliances and stuff, television sets.
Well, again, is that theatrical? Was there like a theatrical element, or was it just because Jesse James Dupree?
He uses the chainsaw on the.
They're not actually theatrical.
This was during the entirety of her show, though, so I sort of want to
happening.
the whole time. And it was very...
So it wasn't like, stop and let's cut something off the
No,
chainsaw.
she was choreographed with what she did, as opposed to Jessie, who does it at the very end.
Okay.
From Jackal.
Right.
So I would count her.
Okay.
And besides, I love her.
We're going to come back and talk about this subject some more. We're going to talk about your comments as well. We had some people chimed in on Facebook this week. Did you tag or send the link to John Fox?
He is watching.
Okay.
Actually.
Sorry, John. I was trying to get you on, brother. And it was a little hectic there, and I couldn't message you. I wanted to send you, but I'm glad that we got you here.
I did tag him, too.
Shout out to John for hanging out with us tonight. This is a band called Helius, Fire of Frame, and we appreciate you guys hanging with us on the Loudini hard rock, I say hard rock, and metal circus. Helius, some love. We'd like to give the band some love.
Yeah, I don't
It's
think I'm
Helius.com, but the U is a V because it's got like that whole like Roman Empire thing.
Yeah, it's doing a thing.
So Helius.com, check them out. I think they kick freaking ass. We played them a few times, but this time Facebook isn't going to block our video. Yeah. So, anyways, coming up, we're going to play Vovkulaka towards the end. That band is awesome, and they've got a great story. They are also paranormal investigators. Let's tell you guys a little bit more about that. I got to interview Vogue this week. It was very cool. So, do we have some audience comments that we want to talk about?
I have a couple here. Chris Thunderwolf said Rammstein. Like I said, I have no idea. I know who Rammstein is. I've never actually seen any video of them. I didn't see them live, so I need some explanation on this if you have any insight on that.
Now, it's a theatrical type situation for sure with them. I think that band is absolutely amazing.
I like their music for sure.
And the music I think is even theatrical.
Okay.
For sure. I think a band, now, I don't know, I wouldn't consider this band, I think this band is theatrical in their sort of presentation. I don't know if their shows are theatrical like the way Trans-Siberian Orchestra is or whatever, but I think Tool has an element of theatricalness to what they do, like, just with their music. Their music has that kind of, like, it's all sort of taking you on this creepy, weird journey, you know. But I don't know. I've never seen them live enough to know if they're doing anything.
I went to a Tool concert. I fell asleep, so I couldn't tell you a damn thing about it.
All right. Well, there you are. Apparently, if they are theatrical, they're not doing it very well because it was like thumbs down.
In my defense, we'd already seen like 6 concerts that week, and I was like really tired. So
I think 6 concerts. See, how can you do that? Like, how can you even enjoy it? Like, to me, going to a concert's like a real event. You know, if I was to go to them, like, go 6 a week.
I still enjoy it. I enjoy every single one I go to. I get excited for it. I don't care if I go like all weekend long. If I hit up like 3 shows on a Saturday, that's my life.
Okay, girl. I like it. I'm up to it.
And then Chris Thunderwolf also said Rob Zombie, which I do agree with maybe a few years ago. The last show I saw, though,
what, just
he
playing his hits,
he didn't really do anything. He walked around the stage a little bit. And yeah, I mean, he still sounds good, but it wasn't very theatrical to me. But yes, back in the day, Rob Zombie was the thing. Someone talked about the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Carlos LeBoy said, I loved In This Moment and hated Ghost. And Chris Thunderwolf said, bless you, Lily, for when I sneeze. Rammstein equals fire. And that's from Jay Wendell, one of our fellow rock ragers.
Hi, Jay.
And that's all I got on comments so far.
On our post today, Barb Helius, how do you say her name? Heliuski.
I'm probably wrong.
Yeah, she has Kiss, King Diamond, Marilyn Manson, Ghost, our faves, Gore, not so much. She must have got sprayed with the blood cannon, too.
Yeah, that part's
Mark Edwin Cole. Mark, I haven't talked to you in a while, brother. It's good to see you. Cooper is my favorite. Jason Pinkney, AJ, fellow musician. Got to stick together out there, brother. Kiss and Alice Cooper.
He's seen both of those with me, so he knows.
Eric Severling.
Severling.
Eric Severling. Ghost is my fave now. Others would be King Diamond and Merciful Fate. Wasp, Motley Crue for their Shout at the Devil era.
Okay, Motley Crue, I
Talk about that,
had
'cause
sort of on a honorable mention because they did do things that were theatrical, but I don't know that I would count them as a theatrical band because they were sort of all scattered. Like Nikki Sixx's bass shoots fire, but it didn't shoot fire at a specific time. It was whenever he felt like shooting fire. The only thing that would probably be theatrical is Tommy's Drum Kit. When it spun or they did the coaster, you knew it was happening. You knew when it was happening and what song it was happening on. Other than that, I probably would not count them as a theatrical band.
Xander Dima. Xander's another dynamite musician. Xander, send me some music, man. We'll play you. Ghost, without a doubt, tops the list.
I need to see them. I saw a video.
And Alice Cooper from the late 80s back in the day, and then Kiss back in the day before that, and it's like in the 70s. Chris
Kiss now.
So I mentioned Alice Cooper. Also depends on what you consider theatrical. Fletch Drums throws out Meatloaf and Iron effing Maiden.
Fletch, I love you, but I can't agree.
But then also chimed in with O. What's O?
I'm not sure what O
and
is.
Alice Cooper. So, yeah, the all good ones. We appreciate that. We love the feed, Blac. It's good stuff.
I have not seen Ghost, but I've seen, like, in person, but I've seen video of Ghost, and that's pretty over the top theatrical. I'd say they're probably, like, leading.
There's always
music
that,
right
too.
now.
Like, wasn't there always that guy, like, with, going back to Alice Cooper. There's a guy before Alice Cooper. I'll have to look him up on the next break. Alice Cooper, Kiss, then it moves up to what, like Marilyn Manson. Like, there's always that guy or that act that goes on. Now we've got Ghost, White Zombie, different bands have, like, kind of picked up that mantle and been that theatrical act of the era or for a few years or whatever that everybody was talking about. And I think there's something that is kind of a natural thing for rock.
Just to have one of at least
you've got
one
to have
guy.
you got to have some of that in there. And I think that if every band did that, it would kind of get old. I remember Phil Collins saying one time that when the progressive rock thing was really happening with Genesis, Yes, and all the different. Emerson, Lake and Palmer with all the giant light shows, and he says it felt like the Nugent Arms race of rock because everybody was like, "How big can I make my show? How big can I make my show?" And it gets to a point where like it kind of like burns itself
Starts to
out.
get ridiculous.
Yeah, there's only
and then we have chainsaw cod pieces. Just saying, we're taking it too far.
I'm getting a chainsaw cod piece tomorrow, and I'm just gonna wear it all the time.
Fine, wear it. I'll get my grinder. Psh. It's in my trunk.
Psh, psh. Does that sound like? Psh.
Yeah. I don't know. The kitty cat's here, which makes me happy. Here's one.
Pussy. Pussy's in the house.
Aww.
You guys like to see my pussy?
No, black pussy.
I have some black pussy right here for everybody. Say something,
I
Cosby.
love her.
Cosby, say something.
She won't talk now because you wanted to. She's Dad, you're embarrassing me.
I'm even squeezing her. Usually that gets her to
She knows what you're doing. She's not stupid.
being obstinate. What she's going to do now is crawl around down there and unplug all the cables.
And then we'll
that'll
be
be the end of
offline.
that's the end of the podcast. Nice talking to you guys.
Boom goes dynamite.
So what else you got about on this theatrical biznatch?
I have Dio for the mere reason that he had entire hockey arenas decorated as a mythological landscape with fighting dragons with swords.
Well, I mean, and that brings you into the atmosphere of what is going on with the music, of course.
Like, that is like a nerd's wet dream. Lord of the Rings, come to fucking life right there. Oh, freaking life right there. I forgot we're not swearing anymore.
Well, we're just trying to keep it. It shouldn't be FFF every other word like it's been sometimes.
Right.
And I'm chief offender. I will admit, I'm
Giant robot spiders coming from the ceiling, and you shoot them down with a laser in your guitar.
Okay,
Dio.
there's somebody you haven't mentioned. I know you're not a big fan of this band, but the last show of theirs I saw, I thought was very theatrical. Metallica.
Okay.
Where they build the Statue of Liberty and they tear it down and they do all, I mean...
I'm avoiding Metallica.
Wow.
Their last show that I saw wasn't very theatrical. It was good, but it wasn't theatrical. There's one big one that I haven't even said yet.
All right, tell us your. Hey, Lily, show us your big one.
They're both pretty big. No, Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd, for sure.
That's one of the biggest
I was going to
ones.
bring out what I was going to mention was because Pink Floyd is no longer defunct.
Yeah.
I was going to mention I saw the British tribute to Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd.
And
they're good.
That is very theatrical. It's up to the point where when they do Comfortably Numb, they actually have the stage set up from the movie with the chair and the guy. It's backlit. It's just you're like right there. And they do a lot of very cool stuff where they show. It's a real tribute. Like they have the giant screen, and they actually, as they go through the albums, they give you like interesting, like kind of like facts and old photos of the band and stuff. It's really like kind of a real celebration of Pink Floyd's music.
I have a soundtrack if you want to borrow it.
Freaking-tastic. It's unbelievable.
I saw it several years ago, actually with Jason Pinkney and a bunch of friends of ours, and I was sort of skeptical that it wouldn't be good because, it's a version of Pink Floyd, but it was good. I was like blown away by that, and I actually ended up buying the soundtrack to it. So
it's a great show if you never get a chance to see it. The way I understand it, I could be wrong. Somebody can jump in and correct me if I'm wrong. Is that the keyboard player owns all the major Pink Floyd tribute acts. This is very fucking smart. Excuse me, very freaking smart. So when Brit Floyd is touring on one side of the world, Aussie Floyd is touring on the other side of the world, and he's making all the money. And that is true entrepreneurship, being a true freaking business-minded person. All you guys out there crying in music saying you can't make any money, you gotta think a little bit differently about it. You gotta
globally.
You gotta think like a business person. But in any case, I think that's a dynamite show. I would like to mention one of my favorite theatrical fails, though, of all time. Do you have any fails on your list?
Just the Wasp one that I could think of offhand. Why? What is it? Do I know it?
I think the problem was that there was a Stonehenge monument on stage that was in danger of being squashed by a dwarf.
Wow.
Stonehenge from This Is Spinal Tap.
I know
that
what you're talking about.
That is the greatest fail of something theatrical ever. In fact, that whole movie, where they try to break out of the
pods,
the pods, and it's just one thing after another. But that's when theatrics really fail you. It's all great until it goes bad. It's the greatest show on earth until it doesn't work.
One of my favorite parts in that movie is when he's like doesn't understand the rolled up cold cuts.
Yeah.
I don't want this to affect your performance.
Yeah. All I'm asking is I want meat that fits the bread. Well, I can't.
These go to lemons. Well, why don't you just make it to 10 and make 10 the loudest?
At least go up to 11.
It's such a good movie, though.
Yeah.
But yes, oh my god.
So there are some very cool theatrical bands out there that are touring. Some that you just have to go back and look at old videos for because they're done. I think Rammstein's done, but it's a unique niche in rock, and some artists just have that calling, if you will, to kind of get out there. I think there's aspects of a lot of different metal bands that they bring in elements of theatrics because it tends to because metal is so epic. Metal is all about the epicness of what you're doing. So
I almost expect Iron Maiden to do a little more because of how storytelling the songs are. They're about mythology and stuff, but I mean that's all they really need. Iron Maiden, obviously, but I would. They're supposedly bringing a giant plane this year on the stage, so we'll see how that looks.
I heard that another band that I think brings in a lot of theatrical elements, but they don't necessarily do the whole story, although they have in the past. Not every concert is like this. Was Rush. Like when they performed the 2112 in its entirety, they brought the whole theater because 2112 is a story, and they bring the whole sort of theatrical aspect of it too. There, if you've ever seen them live, there are sections that are kind of have that vibe, where they'll do a whole sort of theatrical thing. There's a great sequence where the stage is black and the South Park kids get up on stage.
Nice.
And the South Park kids start playing Tom Sawyer, and they start yelling at each other because Cartman's singing the wrong words. And he says, "All right, badass, count it off again." And they count it off again. This time, Rush comes in, and they play it. And they do a lot of really theatrical kind of elements, but it isn't like a whole story, kind of linked throughout the performance.
The 2 times that my ex-husband made me go to that show, and I was dragged kicking and screaming.
And he hated Rush.
I don't hate them. I just don't love them. It was very good with what they had going on the screen. They had a dragon with fire, and it was very Dio-like.
Yeah,
so
yeah, no, they've got that whole thing going on. I mean, there was, a lot of songs are based on science fiction ideas and things like that, so it totally lends itself.
Like a nerd's wet dream.
Like a nerd.
And that's what my ex-husband was, a giant nerd. So he loved
Did he have
stuff.
wet dreams?
Probably. I don't know.
You slept with him, didn't you? Okay, this is for the after show, so if you'd like to find out about Lily's ex-husband's wet dreams, we're going to talk about that on the after show. Anyways, I want to talk about a couple things before we switch out. I guess Michael Anthony was cornered again this week, and he will not. He's like, mum's the word. It ain't happening.
Smart.
I'm not saying anything. And Eddie Trunk has been talking, a guy who knows Van Halen's managers say that they planned this out over New Year's, and I stick by what I said last week was this is a giant marketing thing. It's actually probably really freaking brilliant. They're getting everybody talking about it.
It's like
people are all over social media talking about it. I'm talking about it. Eddie Trunk's talking about it. Everybody is talking about.
I heard Lily V6 is talking about it too.
Lily V6 is talking about it. Gigi's talking about it. John Coons is talking. Everybody's talking about is Van Halen going to do something? And ultimately, it doesn't really matter because Van Halen, they don't need to do anything. First of all, they're freaking rich.
First of all, they're Van Halen.
Yeah, I mean, they gave us all this amazing music that we don't. We're all kind of being greedy. Oh, Van Halen, I didn't get enough.
I've seen him twice.
Eddie needs to slap everybody and say, Van Halen 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, and yes, and even listen to the Gary Sharon record, you dumb fucks, because that's it. We did it. If you don't like it, that's all we got. That's all it is, and it ain't no more. It's like all the people that wanted Led Zeppelin to get back together for years and years and years.
Stay where it's at.
Yeah, and
that was smart.
And those good with these guys, they went out on top. And I think that I think that Van Halen is kind of getting people kind of whooped up because I think that they are going to do. I suspect that they're probably going to do something this year. I don't know what. I suspect they're going to do something. It might be just a few shows. Who knows? But so there is still that rumor mill is still churning away about Van Halen. Sammy Hagar. Have you heard about the Circle? So Sammy Hagar, because I just want to talk about this for a minute because this is a little connection to Van Halen. Sammy Hagar was, there's something going on with him and Van Halen brothers that will not ever be disclosed. Some bad juju went down and they're done. But he has chicken foot for a long time. Mm-hmm. And the issue with chicken foot is this. You've got Chad Smith, who's still heavily involved with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and they're still doing things. And you got Joe Satriani, who's got what was it called? G what? G5? What's it called? G guitar thing you went to see?
I can't remember. Not Generation X.
Generation X.
Yeah.
And these different shows. Plus, he's got a whole solo thing, and he's going around doing clinics. Everybody's really tied up. And then Mike Anthony might be going to play with Sammy's old boss. So it's very difficult for these old classic rockers to put out new music and to kind of get anything going with it. for a lot of reasons that I won't get into at the moment. So Sammy says, well, I'm going to just do this band called The Circle. And he got Jason Bonham to play.
Ooh, nice.
And they just went to go out and just play Sammy's greatest hits. You know, from his solo stuff to his stuff with Van Halen to all the stuff that everybody loves Sammy to do. So he's like, we're just gonna do this because I know people are gonna like it, and I don't gotta worry about, you know. Well, that didn't last too long because they just put out a record of original music and got an album coming out, and the first song is called Trust Fund Baby, and you guys can go check it out. And I'd like to know what you think about it. I don't want to get into it right now because I'm going to do a video on that because there's some issues going on with these guys, these classic rockers are putting out new music and kind of how it comes. So I'm going to do a video about that. We'll turn into a little podcast for you, but I don't want to get into it. But check it out. I'd like you guys to message me or throw it up on social media and tell me what you think about Sammy's new song. It's out. You can get it on YouTube. You just go listen to it and check it out. I'd love to know what you guys think about it. This next band is called Vovkulaka. Vovkulaka. I had a hell of a time with this yesterday. And but these guys are very interesting. They're from the Ukraine, and they are also paranormal. Vogue, the leader of the band, he's the lead vocalist and the drummer. This band, by the way, is very Rammstein, Rob Zombie-esque influenced. But they are very into the paranormal, and all their songs kind of reflect this, and they bring... In fact, he did... So you know what EVPs are? Electric voice phenomena?
Sure.
Okay, where they will put a... record something and then listen back later. And so they did a bunch of these things, and they've actually mixed it in to some of the songs and stuff like that. So he's really into this, and he will come if they're on tour. They mix in ghost hunting and ghost busting with their tours. It's just a whole I need to do a show on this too because I just met another guy who does something with like this crazy African drumming stuff, and he does like this kind of like yogic meditation classes during the day, then does a concert at night, and he's toured the entire world and making like Googa dollars at it. But in any case, so bands are finding all kind of different ways to do it. But anyways, Vogue told me about this the other day. It's absolutely fascinating. We're going to have the interview up soon on Loudini rockandrollcircus.com. But I couldn't resist playing this song again. I think this actually I've listened to the whole catalog. If you go to Vovkulaka.com, they've got all the songs. They've got like a whole bunch of songs. You can just listen to videos. They got a bunch of lyric videos and stuff. And I listened to them all, and I just think they're all freaking dynamite. So check it out. This is Vovkulaka, My Devil, on the Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus. Vovkulaka. Vovkulaka. I want to say it like that for some reason.
You want to say it all German-like?
But say Vovkulaka. Actually, that's Russian. He speaks Russian fluently. Let me give you the things. That is Vovkulaka, and you go to Vovkulaka.com. VOVKULAKA.com. And we open the show with Lana Blac. And Lana, you got... Well, we're going to edit that out. I'm sorry. We played you twice. I don't know, maybe we'll leave it in because it's kind of funny. LanaBlac.com, LANABLAK.com.
C.com, not K.
BLAC, thank you. See, I've hardly even had any alcohol.
And I'm not feeling good.
Ain't we a pair?
Match made in heaven.
I know these things happen. What are you going to do? So, did you hear about Vinnie Vincent was going to go out, and then at the last minute, he's pulled the plug on everything.
I didn't know he was going out.
Have you seen him?
Yes.
I thought there was a woman.
He thinks he's a woman.
Oh, does he? Is he one of those?
I think he's
confused. Well, I'm sorry. You're not confused.
We don't mean that negatively.
If you're like gender fluid, is that the word I want? That's totally fine. Like
whatever gender you identify as, we're fine with it.
Whatever you want to do, I don't care.
We're used to him being a male, and now he's looking a little feminine, which is fine. But
like
not
he's
used
not
to
looking feminine. Like
In the
at
good
least
way.
Caitlyn Jenner
Looks like a woman.
looks kind of like a woman.
Yeah.
Well, no. But I mean, like a maybe. Oh God, I'm gonna really.
You're gonna screw this up.
I'm really gonna throw myself in the shitter with this. Almost kind of like an attractive woman in a way, right? Kind of.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Vinny's not looking.
Vinny
like an
looks
attractive
like
female.
a old Jewish lady. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I know what you're
I want to
saying.
hear. I want to hear Vinny go. I feel like a little verklempt right now. Ugh. That's what I expect him to sound like when I look at his face. It's just like, what's going on with that?
I hear some things about that. So, I think he's trying to change.
He's going to change. Not if there's anything wrong with that.
Which there is not. It's just different.
You know, could you imagine being going through that, or being in that situation, and it being like the 1830s?
Oh my God, no.
Like, how would you cope? Like, what would you? I mean, you would just be you would suck. Because it's like today, like everybody is for all the complaining and bitching, everybody, we have a pretty like accepting society.
Yeah.
Yes, there are people that are can't wait to make fun out of anybody, but for the most part, you can go. There's surgeries, there's drugs, all kind of things you can do. You could just at least an outlet, you know. But man, whenever time people talk about that, I think like, man, if you would have been born 100 years ago, man, you'd have been.
This would not have worked out.
Screwed. Yeah, you would be really freaking miserable, man. You know, those people just like had
Not
to
even
kind
that long ago. It could have the 80s. Think
yeah,
about
like
that.
30, 40 years ago, even. Yeah. I mean, just, you know, it's just we live in a there's an old, they call it a Chinese curse that says, "May you live in interesting times." We definitely live in interesting times.
I mean,
So, Lily, why don't you go ahead? I know you're dealing with some migraine issues tonight. Let's. Should we all hold hands and say a prayer for Lily?
yeah.
Laying on of hands.
No, don't do that. Don't pray for me ever, because it will not work.
What if
You're
we
wasting your
What if we
time.
pray to Satan for you?
No.
Not even Satan?
No, because
Wow. So you even pissed Satan off?
Panic. No. He has a restraining order. I told him no returns on the soul.
You bought it. That's it. You're done.
No returns.
No returns. No returns unsold. So, tell us about what's coming up. You've got your show is going to be on Rock Rage this week.
Yes, rockrageradio.com or the free app on your phone if you have a smartphone. Hot Licks with Lily 6,
The thumb phone.
6 p.m. Eastern on Rock Rage Radio, of course. And then I will be going live for Quiet Riot and Storm Dragon. I'm doing an interview prior to the show, so if you want to tune into that on the Rock Rage Radio Facebook page. And then I may or may not go live for Saturday night's Debauchery at Otto's Pub.
Saturday night.
And the Bay City Rollers are in town, obviously.
Bay City Rollers will be there.
And Sunday I actually have that charity event. It's going to be at the Washington County Fairgrounds for a dear friend of mine who's going through chemo treatments. Spaghetti dinner. If you guys can make it out there, that'd be great. They have a Chinese auction and everything. But yeah, that's what I got going.
Okay, guys. You can always go to LoudiniRockAndRollCircus.com for all your Loudini needs.
Tongue twister.
We are gonna pop. You have time? You feel okay? You want to go over for a little bit? You
A
can
little
do
bit.
that?
Couple
Okay.
minutes.
We're gonna go over to our inner circle and kind of decompress for a few minutes, and maybe kind of kick around some ideas for next week's show. And if you would like to get some exclusive music, exclusive content, exclusive video, be able to kind of hang out with us in a little more less formal way. I don't know if there's any more informal than this. That's saying something. You can go to loulombardimusic.com/inner circle, and there's some information there where you can come and party with us on a little different way. We'd love to have you. We love input. We love to talk to you guys. Love to mix up with you guys.
I
So-
love input.
And on that happy note, thank you guys so much for hanging out with the Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus tonight. LoudiniRockAndRollCircus.com is the website. And we're going to wrap up. We had the bands, so I run them down real quick. We started up with Lana, Blac. We then progressed to Helius. And then we had Vovkulaka. All if you guys get my Patreon, you will get my actual show notes. Get my Patreon, you will get my actual show notes, but that's not completely released yet, so I shouldn't even be talking about that. Shh, back up. We'll reverse that.
You didn't hear
once.
that.
You didn't hear that. Okay, guys, and so we're going to wrap up with my band. This is Strangelove. This track I wrote about Janis Joplin. It's called Pagan Mama. We'll catch you guys all in the next Loudini Hard Rock and Metal Circus.